Now, I can honestly say that having been one of those people who has followed the model of go to college, you'll always have opportunities. No one can take that away from you. And then still remaining unemployed or employed ungainfully, whichever way you want to look at it. And even pursuing a master's degree and thinking I would always have opportunities that would always overshadow someone who did not go get their college education. And not having those opportunities, having people actually use my education against me to screen me out of opportunities, to say that I'm overqualified, to challenge what my next 5 to 10 year goals are, as if it's even relevant to them what I'm going to be doing in 5 years. And so I like the challenge of rethinking how we step into a community or participate in a community. But before this 2-year unemployment, I would have said, this is great. It's one of those kumbaya things, we can make it happen. But now I'm seeing it from a whole different perspective, because I've come to the table bringing some awesome assets and being screened out, if you will, for any opportunity, whether it's cleaning toilets or running the Department of Workforce Development. So there's a problem there.
Responsibilities, I don't know if I'm tackling these in order, but there was a law put on the books, the Section 3 in 1968, which Jim and I were talking about that. He said it never had any teeth. And it is mostly, I think it's mostly housing related, or HUD, so that entities that get HUD funding are technically supposed to hire something like 30% of the workforce for certain projects within the community. And there hasn't been that much enforcement. And so I did a quick search before I came here on the internet, and I found, there's a lot more search results for Section 3 enforcement, with a lot of recent articles actually about HUD putting out, recent efforts to try to kind of pump that up and get more accountability with that. There were a lot more search results for that than there were for just Section 3. So it is cropping up again, and it is there. And I would like to see a community where the whole community kind of signs on to maybe voluntarily aiming for a goal like that, or at least acknowledging that there are benefits to reinvestment within your own community.
And they had some really serious issues, and Evergreen was designed as a way. They were facing the same kind of stuff that we're looking at, only on a much deeper and more scary scale. So what they did was they went to a cooperative model, and a cooperative model is designed primarily to work from the very bottom up. And so what Evergreen saw was that they had these anchor institutions, which to them were educational opportunities. They were healthcare, large educational places, and large healthcare, primarily in Cleveland. And where we sit right now, you can see a large educational opportunity right outside our door. And 4 or 5 blocks down the street further is a major medical institution. And we have the Children's Museum at the street. So we actually have some of those same kind of things here in the neighborhood. So essentially what they did was they went to these institutions and they said, hey, what do you guys farm out? What do you guys contract out? What kind of services do you put contracts out for people to do? Landscaping, maintenance, food service, all the things that they hire somebody else to do for them that they don't necessarily do in-house. They got a list of all these things and broke it down and said, well, what can we do? What can we come in and take over? Or apply to be a contractor for the opportunity. And they settled on the laundry. Everybody needed to have commercial laundry done. So they created a cooperative, neighborhood-based laundry and competed for and got contracts from the major folks that are in there.
I think that's one piece. I think the second piece is this other piece, which is what really draws me to KI, is this thing about self-mastery and self-reliance. That there has to be some type of innate strength to reject things. Remember, when we say no, we're really saying yes to ourselves. So we have to figure out what that yes is. We have to figure out what the yes is that we're saying it is to ourselves, and then we'll feel comfortable when we say no, thank you, we don't want that, right? Whomever it may be from, I don't care who it is, because I think to move something like Evergreen forward, it's going to take that type of self-understanding.
You have to
how do you leverage resource for anchor institutions? You have to have a support base, a portfolio. How much time does that take to create in order to get in a position for them to hear you? So if you're underemployed, if you're struggling, you have to simultaneously feed yourself and build that support base to leverage the resources to feed the other people struggling. And that's a unique challenge. I don't think it's just unique to this community, but I do think it's a unique challenge that communities in this nation face. But I think I'll place more emphasis on encouraging and pushing the residents to hold the institutions responsible. Because they're not going to be responsible willingly. And I say that generally. Some may be. But you got to hold them responsible. And the way you hold them responsible is having chips to leverage with. And what are those chips? What is your portfolio? What is your support base? Why do they need to listen to you? Why do they need to change the way they view the world? So what have you been doing to do that? And that can take a long time. But hopefully it hits that flywheel and the momentum builds. And then you're sitting at their table. And they are now looking at your terms and not just asking you for your input. Because input is not empowerment. We do these sessions where these plans are asking us for community input. But implied in input is I got the choice of whether or not I listen to it. And empowerment is different. It means I will take it into account and do something with it.